Hello, and welcome to Community Insights. My name is Eve Rogers, and I am a pastor with Churches Outreach Network, located in eastern North Carolina, particularly here in Pitt County. And it is such a pleasure to have you join us today for what will be a most informative and inspiring segment, as I have two awesome guests with me today from the Center for Family Violence Prevention. And we're going to be talking about some things that will be of interest to all of us and ways that we can, in effect, help and assist in this effort that has been going on for a number of years here in Pitt and surrounding counties. I would like to welcome to our program today, first of all, Laura King. Laura King is with the Center for Family Violence Prevention, and I believe you are the executive director.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, welcome, Laura. And also with us today is Portia Willis, who is with the Center for Family Violence Prevention, and I'd like to welcome you. Your title with the program?
Yes, ma'am. I am an outreach educator, and I also work as a victim's advocate.
Wow. So we are going to get lots and lots of good information about the programs and the services that you are immediately providing leadership and impetus to.
Yes, ma'am.
Laura, first of all,
Yes.
let's begin by talking about the Center for Family Violence Prevention. Tell us some history of this program, what it's about, what the mission of the center is, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you. Our organization has been around in Pitt County formally since the 1980s. Our mission is to provide services to victims of domestic violence and their children. But the story of the beginning of the agency, I think, is fascinating.
Okay.
There was a group of social workers back in the 70s when domestic violence was something that nobody understood, nobody talked about. And these women were dealing with domestic violence victims, and there was no services, no referrals, nothing they could really do to help them in a formal way. And they formed a collaboration and were actually hiding these women in their own homes. And then they developed a bit of an underground railroad to get them out of the county and away from their abusers. Their work was noticed by others in the community, and this organization grew out of that first effort by those individuals.
That's amazing.
It was, and those same women served on the first board of directors, and the agency has grown from that situation. They started with a federal grant of $1,300 and had a tiny little office downtown, and we've grown to an agency with 37 employees and a list of services as long as your arm. So we've expanded, and we're able to do so much to help domestic violence victims now.
Now, what region do you serve? In addition to Pitt counties?
We serve Pitt, Martin, and Washington counties.
Washington County, okay.
That's right.
Okay.
And we have offices in both of those other counties. They're small offices, but we do have representation there. A victim doesn't have to travel here to get services.
Tell us a little bit about the people that you have served, let's say over the past 10 years. I receive your newsletter, so I'm aware that you have served a number of people, and the numbers were just astounding to me.
We average approximately 1,000 clients a year. These are the women who have found the courage to come forward and seek help. We are concerned about the other 1,000 or more that may be out there that haven't realized the type of help that's available. I think it's easy to say, oh, go to this agency, they'll help you. But if you don't understand exactly what the services are, it's hard to believe that you really can be assisted out of an abusive relationship.
And as you said earlier, with the inception of this tremendous resource and program, it was sort of like a hidden but a very terrifying mystery
Exactly.
to many people, those who were being victimized by domestic violence, but also for some of the rest of the community that simply didn't know how to help and how to intervene. What have you found to be some of your significant and absolutely essential partners in working with the domestic violence issue in our communities?
Law enforcement
Absolutely.
is absolutely the prime collaboration that we couldn't do without. And I have to give kudos to the Greenville Police Department and to the Pitt County Sheriff's Office. They are an unusually well-trained units, and they have skills and empathy and compassion that you don't see in law enforcement everywhere. I think they are exemplary, and this community is so fortunate to have them, and I think a lot of people don't understand and appreciate that.
I seem to recall back some years ago, maybe 10 or 12 years ago or longer, that the Pitt County Sheriff's Department, Greenville Police Department were really not only being trained themselves in honing their skills, but they were also being called upon by other counties, other communities in the state of North Carolina, because we were so progressive here in this area.
That's very true, and I'll have to say that's expanded. Officers from our Sheriff's Department train nationally now, and they're nationally recognized for their exceptional work.
Awesome. That
Yes.
is wonderful, wonderful. Well, let me let you catch your breath for a moment, and we want to speak with Portia. What has been some of the most significant milestones, if you will, that you are just aware of and have experienced and observed, maybe not so much directly in terms of your particular role and position with the center, but have you found anything that sort of caused your eyebrows to raise a bit, that you're just amazed that this program provides?
Wow. Day in and day out, I'm able to see and have a bird's eye view of the awesome, tremendous work that my coworkers do, the services that we offer to our clients. I'm just amazed at the care that's put into it, the professionalism that's put into it. I think treating anyone that walks through our doors with dignity, no matter what your circumstances. I think that's one of the hallmarks of what we do. I just am amazed that with dealing with this issue, that we can provide those services at the level with the skills that we do, and it makes me very proud to be able to do that day in and day out.
Wonderful. Let me ask you this question, Portia, because I'm sure it's on the minds of some of our viewers today. We talk about domestic violence or family violence prevention efforts, and we say women and children.
Yes.
Do we also experience, or have we in our program here experienced males as victims of domestic violence?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Talk a moment about that.
Yes, ma'am. I've been with the agency since January of this year, and quite a few of the clients I've served have been male. And being able to take whoever comes through our doors is what we do day in and day out, and that is what DV looks like. It doesn't have a race attached to it, doesn't have a gender attached to it, doesn't have a social economic status attached to it. It affects everyone, and so being able to provide those services for anyone that walks through our doors is something that we're very proud of, and especially men that come through our doors. Absolutely.
About what percentage, Laura, Portia, would you say are males?
Studies show that about 80% of abuse is male on female abuse. So about roughly that other 20 to 15%, 15 to 20% is going to be female on male.
Wow.
And I guess the issue that's run into is, if it's reported or not. I would imagine that's a very underreported issue.
I would think so.
Yes,
absolutely,
ma'am.
Absolutely. And that's probably a national trend
Yes,
as well.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
we also treat victims from same-sex couples.
Absolutely.
So that's another part of the demographic.
Just
that-
victims, as you just said a
Exactly
moment ago,
right.
Portia.
That's right.
Regardless of what they
Exactly
look
right.
like and where they're coming from, so to speak, if they walk through your doors.
That's right.
Exactly.
Then they are worthy clients to
Absolutely.
be served. I understand that there is some exciting new programming that is taking place that you are providing just a superior leadership to. Tell us about that. You're going to be working with some of our younger people who are not as such in the throes of domestic violence themselves as adults are,
Right.
but you are giving them some prevention kinds of efforts and counseling.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. I'm so excited because we have the CATCH program in Pitt County and we'll be expanding it to Martin County.
Say that again, the what
The
program?
CATCH program.
Okay.
It stands for Caring for Abused Teens in the Community and at Home. So CATCH for short.
Yeah.
And so what our goal is to be able to reach teens wherever they are and be able to teach them about healthy relationships and give them the tools in their tool belt to notice when relationships are veering in the wrong direction, and then what to do about that. Or if you've got a friend or a family member that might be going through an abusive situation, how to deal with that. So currently we are in Pitt County schools. We already have 3 schools on the books for the fall semester. Our goal is to reach all of the freshmen and sophomores who are taking health and PE, and we'll go in and kind of take over that class period and teach a 5-day curriculum about healthy relationships and the warning signs of teen dating violence.
That is phenomenal and so needful. We hear from time to time over various even national news programs, that being a major issue among young people, you know, that dating violence that occurs. What are some of the maybe 2 or 3 prime points that you want to make to young people, both male and female,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Okay,
And I've
about the
had-
violence in dating relationships, or just male-female relationship at the middle school, high school, and beyond level.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad that you said male and female because I primarily work with coaches. Once we talk with the principal and the guidance counselor, then I'm working daily with the coaches to schedule and whatnot. And the coaches have asked, well, do we need to just take all the girls and just have you talk to them? Absolutely not. We want everyone to be a part of this because everyone needs to be able to hear about those warning signs to look for and what a healthy relationship should like. Some of them have been exposed to things they're not sure what a healthy relationship looks like. So the 3 main things that we might go over with them are empathy. Just talking about emotional intelligence, and we talk about if you're not in a situation like this, what would you do if you witness a situation like this? So, as a bystander, is it your tendency to kind of turn your head and not, that's not my business, or is it your tendency to step up? And if you do want to step up, what's a healthy way to do that?
Yes.
Then defining what teen dating violence is. So going through that definition, going through the different types of abuse, also going through the cycle of abuse, because a lot of people aren't aware that it's a cycle. And that might be a reason why individuals may not get out of it like you may think they would, or as quickly as they may think, as quickly as you might think that they should. So it's a cycle. And then the third thing, where to go to get help. How to help a friend or a family member, putting those tools in your tool belt to notice warning signs. So I think those would be those main 3 things that we try to teach over those 5 days.
I would assume that because you're in the schools, you're going into the schools and presenting this class and this program, that one of the resources that you point the young people to is the resources and persons, officials within the school system itself, counselors, principals, assistant principals.
Yes, ma'am. And when I say I've been welcomed with open arms, I can't thank Pitt County Schools enough, and the individual principals at each school and the counselors that have said, yes, we need this program. We welcome you in. Can we assist you with anything that you have need of when you come into the schools? It has been a collective effort, and I'm just so pleased. And our goal is to be in all 6 of the high schools each spring and fall semester. Wow. And we've already reached about 350 high schoolers just over the spring semester and over the summer. So we're foraging ahead to reach even more just in the 6 months of the fall.
Wow. I'm going to come back and ask you a question in a moment about the male response
Yes,
that
ma'am.
you're getting with CATCH.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
Laura, going back to you, what are some of the other kinds of things that the Center for Family Violence Prevention is doing that the community may need to be aware of? I know that you have some shops, my sister's closet, my sister's attic, and so forth. What are ways that just people in general can help support this very valuable and critical work that you do?
I think our key component in dealing with victims in crisis, of course, is our Safe House. We provide emergency shelter, and that includes food, counseling, some job preparation, parenting, assistance with children, that it's not just a place to go and hide and sort of lick your wounds. It's a place to go and begin to really rebuild your life and to be empowered to do that. Domestic violence is one human being trying to gain and maintain total control over another human being. And so the victim in those situations have frequently lost all power to make decisions for themselves. And in the Safe House, that power is returned to them. So this is where we go, and we try to give the information that a victim would need to make decisions, but we don't make the decisions for them. So in the counseling process and all, they regain that personal empowerment. We have children's counseling, adult counseling in English and in Spanish. We have
Wonderful. Wow.
we have our family center, which provides supervised exchange for couples that are separated but have a child in common. The custodial parent can come and drop off the child to our family center and leave, and the non-custodial parent can come and pick the child up and take them for a visit. And this helps prevent the victim being exposed to the abuser in that exchange.
Absolutely.
That protects the
Yes.
victim, and it protects trauma to the child. So we have that. In situations where the abuser may not be totally trustworthy to conduct that exchange and to take the child for visitation, if he's manipulating the child, or if there's some concern that he might take the
Abduct
child
the
and
child,
flee,
yes.
then we have monitored visitation on site at the family center. So you're there and you're making sure that everybody's behaving appropriately, and an abuser is not using the child to stalk the victim.
The victim.
You know,
Yes. Yes.
What's going on? Where's victim going? Who's she with or he with? That sort of thing. And in particularly difficult situations, those visits are monitored by law enforcement. So we do that. And at the Family Center, we also have abuser treatment, which is counseling for the abuser, and we have anger management sessions as well.
Wonderful. I would assume that the majority of your clients that come in and through the center are involved in law enforcement or the courts. Is that an accurate assumption?
I
The
would
majority?
say most.
How else do they come into the program?
Some just walk in the front door.
Really?
Probably
Self-referral,
several.
huh?
Probably several a day. Those that have been involved with law enforcement, if law enforcement has been called to the scene, come to us. But most all of them work with our court advocates to obtain domestic violence protective orders. And so our advocates go to court with them, help them through that process. It's not a horribly difficult process, but it's intimidating if you don't know it.
Absolutely.
And so
yes. Yes.
that's a big part of our services as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Talk to me about my sister's closet. Oh, here again, I want the community to have a breadth of understanding about how they may be supported.
Well, we have My Sister's Closet that sells new and gently used women's clothing and accessories, and we have My Sister's Attic, which sells furniture and home decor items. And both stores were started to raise money for the organization, trying to help ourselves raise as much money in the community as we can, to be as independent as we can, and provide for more clients. It's evolved, though. Those stores are also open to assist clients. If a woman comes to us with only the clothes on her back, which happens, then she gets a voucher and can go to my sister's closet and get what she needs at no charge.
That's amazing.
The same thing happens when she's a little farther down the path and is ready to set up her own home. We can help furnish her new residence from my sister's attic. So it's become a sort of a multi-pronged
Holistic, yes,
mission
multi-pronged enterprise,
and it's
but for the care of the victims.
Yes, and
Yes.
it's also become a place where a victim perhaps is unsure whether they're ready to disclose and seek help. So this victim can come into the stores and engage in a conversation with any staff member to find out what assistance there is. And we've actually had cases where an abuser was in a car in the parking lot and the victim came in to shop, disclosed that she was in trouble, and left by the back door. So we're there to help whatever the circumstance calls for.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Back to Catch. Portia, tell me a little bit about your experiences thus far with that program and sharing with male and female high school students. Sort of what are the responses that you're getting from the males about the tendency or the propensity or the problem of dating violence and that kind of thing? I'm just particularly interested. I tend to know how we as females think and feel oft times about these kinds of matters. But do the males feel that you're really not talking to them, or are they listening?
They may feel that way on the first day. But my goal is to keep it engaging and keep them moving, keep them doing activities that make them feel like. I've had students tell me on day 5, I wasn't so sure about you, Miss Willis, but this was all right. On day 1, we do an activity, like I said, about emotional intelligence. And one of the activities that I did, I can remember, I asked the males, tell me, and this is 13, 14-year-old boys, tell me the emotion that you see most from the men around you in your community, in your home and whatnot. And the number one answer I got that day was anger.
Yes.
So
Wow.
13 and 14-year-old boys seeing, I said, tell me, the emotion that you see most from the men around you. And the number one answer was anger. So I knew then we were where we needed to be at.
Yes,
And in
yes.
order to keep that from evolving into an issue that may end, one or two of those individuals up in our agency years down the line for whatever reason, we've got to have programs like this in place. Studies show that early prevention can keep an individual from being in an abusive relationship down the line, because they know the warning signs. They know this isn't right, so they know how to make that change in decisions and behaviors. And I encourage them, male and female, if you're seeing signs in yourself where I'm getting upset too quickly, I may be being a little controlling, I may have issues with controlling my behaviors, you need to seek help. You need to talk with a counselor about it, talk to a friend about it, because those things can evolve. Those can evolve into behaviors that can be abusive towards someone else. And so just being able to be open and honest with them, being able to let them know, I'm here after the period is over if you need to talk to me. It never fails. Each session I do, I always have a student that wants to have a more confidential conversation with me. So
How about that?
I'm glad I was there.
That is absolutely wonderful. And to begin to chip away
That's right.
at a cycle before it becomes so entrenching and devastating to that young person as he or she is growing up into young adulthood and beyond.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to say, as an agency that's committed to providing service to victims, we can keep doing that until the end of time. That's not what we want. We want to stop this.
Yes.
And so that's why the CATCH program and other community awareness efforts are so important to make our community understand, number one, what's going on and how to stop it. And that's one reason we appreciate being here today and having an opportunity talk to.
Absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. Well, we have a few more minutes left. What are some of the other things that you just want to bring to our audience's attention today?
Well, I know we have a luncheon coming up.
That's right.
September
Yes,
26th.
Yes, talk to us about that.
We're having our second annual Domestic Violence Impact Luncheon. It's going to be at the Convention Center on the 26th of September, and we still have some seats available, and we would love to have the community come out and support us. It's an awareness event. There'll be a very powerful speaker who has experienced violence in the family.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Laura King and Portia Willis, what a great, great program today. I am just so honored to have had the opportunity to talk with the both of you about the Center for Family Violence Prevention. Thank you so much for the excellent, superb work that you're doing for our community, and not only victims, but for all of us, because when a neighbor is helped, then I am helped. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
It's been great being with you today on Community Impact. Take care, be blessed. Pastor Eve Rogers.